All right, welcome everybody to Targeting Winners. This is our week one preview with our picks for the first official week, I guess. Week that's, actual big time games coming in here today. Darren, up in New York, how are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
Not bad. Peter, the Youper almost. How's it up there? Peter?
Pete's frozen, or he can't hear you, one or the other.
Either that or he can't hear.
I'm back now. I can hear you. I think I was frozen for a second, but good to see y'all. I'm excited to be here.
Do they have internet up there on the Upper Peninsula? Is that the...
Yeah, it's like there's a pigeon that you have to fly back and forth between poles. It works sometimes.
All right. All right, so we're going to go jump right into our week one picks. We're going to look back at week 0 first. Let's pull up our little graphic up here. Darren, take us through it.
All right, so yeah, just get a quick recap of what we have going for tonight and tomorrow before we get into Saturday. So, quick recap. Kansas State screwed us, which, Tim, I'm sorry. You should have known you were going to lose that one once I bet it as well. But the week 0 schneid has come to a screeching halt. Thank you, Jalen Daniels. Yes, well played. I said the new OC was going to make a difference, and Daniels only went out and completed 90% of his passes and 3 touchdowns. So it's nice to be right for a change. So thank you, Kansas. A new streak has begun. I do have one ad for tonight. I'll get into that shortly. But for tomorrow, I do have Baylor on the money line over Auburn, and I do have San Jose State. I got 11.5. That has gone up to 13 or 13.5 in some places. I wouldn't go any higher than 13.5 if you're still looking to back the Spartans there. I did add a game the other night. I was looking at Nebraska and Cincinnati, the game being played at Arrowhead. BetMGM really quickly went to +7. I jumped on that, so I do have the Bearcats tonight +7. That is still available at Bet Rivers from the looks of it, and Bally, I think, if you have access to Bally where you are. Yes, Rivers and Bally still showing 7. I just think people are sleeping a little bit on Cincinnati, and especially their offense. Brendan Sorsby's not a bad QB. They got a couple of good running backs, including a transfer from Wisconsin who had over 800 yards and 10 TDs last year. I think Dylan Raiola will improve, but what worries me the most about Nebraska is they play a 3-3-5. That front 6 is all gone. I mean, there's no starter coming back from that group. So I'm hoping between Sorsby and his dual threat capability, he did lead the Bearcats in rushing touchdowns last year. So I'm hoping between him and the 2 running backs, they can kind of keep Nebraska on the field a little bit longer than they want to be. I just think 7's too much here. So, yeah, nothing. I know it's probably going to be all Nebraska fans because it's in Kansas City now, but just don't totally trust Nebraska at this point. So I took it because it did hit 7. So I do have that to go with mine. And, Pete, you still got one kicking off shortly, one later on, and one tomorrow as well.
Yes, sir. Auburn Baylor under 57.5 coming up soon. Right now, starting 3 minutes ago. NC State and East Carolina kicking off right now, so we'll be keeping an eye on it while we're here today. Looking at the under 59.5, so I don't expect to see a ton of scoring early. We'll see how that goes. And then I have Wisconsin, Miami of Ohio over 39.5. I mean, if you want the full analysis, go back to our week 0 show. But as I noted there, right, that 39.5 is pretty low for a modern college game. So, I'm probably getting suckered into that thing, but I'm going for it. So I'm in on the over.
I think it actually went up. I think you got a good number there. I think some places have like 40.5 or even 41 now. So nice call there.
I'm watching the game here, so if we get a lot of scoring, I'll break in here. So the less you hear from me about this game, the better for the rest of the show.
That's right.
Hopefully I don't say anything about it.
I don't want to hear a word about it.
Right? Leave it alone. All right, let's go in. Let's just jump right into our first picks here. All right, well, we're going to start with one of mine here. We've got UTSA Roadrunners traveling to take on my bet for the national champions this year. So obviously I think here the line is 24.5. I actually got it at 21.5. I would still bet the 24.5 anyway. I think this is going to be a tough order for the Roadrunners. They lost so much on defense. Texas A&M has that running game. I think they can just run them down. Even their backups are going to be pretty angry and getting some good yardage here as well. Marcel Reed is to be his big announcement. Hopefully, if they can't cover this, I don't feel very good about all of my Texas A&M bets that I made a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on it, but I have minus 21.5. The spread did go up to 24.5. I still, even if I was 24, I'd probably still bet it. So if you can get it. We also on the bottom, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. We have all the other sites. We have DraftKings, Bally's, or Bally's rather,
Bailey's.
Rivers, a whole bunch of other ones that I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks like you can still get under 24 just about everywhere. Yeah, FanDuel
I feel good about 21.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Caesars 23.5, DraftKings 23.5, ESPN bet looks like they're 22.5. So yeah, you definitely got a good number. But yeah, there's still less than 24s out there for anybody who wants to back you.
Yeah, so we'll be putting these lines out. So if you happen to see one on one of the platforms that you use, feel free to jump on it. We'll give you as much information as we can as we move forward. Georgia Southern. Pete, I believe this is one of yours.
It is indeed one of mine. So over under is 51.5. So, my thoughts, I think, the injury wise is pretty minor, which is good. I think we're going to see a pretty pass heavy approach on both sides here, which would not surprise me. So I think we're going to have high tempo. There's going to be some scoring, all of that. So, this is one of the kind of contra picks I talked about last week in the week 0. I like unders early, but this is one of the contras to me. I think there's going to be scoring. I think there's going to be scoring quite a bit. So I like the over at 51.5 on this game, simply because I think there's going to be a lot of movement of the ball. So that's my thoughts on this game, but I do like the over 51.5.
Yep, this was the one that I looked at. I don't know, Darren, if this one caught your eye at all.
I didn't really take a good look at it, but I do think Fresno State having a game under their belt, even though they did not look great. Their first drive, they looked really good. I'm here bashing EJ Warner and that he's a turnover machine. And meanwhile, he's going 5 for 5 and leading the team to a touchdown right off the bat. But then he reverted to the EJ Warner we all know and love. But I think Kansas's defense certainly played a little bit better than I thought they would. They had some secondary issues, and after that first drive, he really wasn't able to take advantage of that. But I'm expecting an improved performance here against Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern should be able to put up some points as well. I mean, they're probably a second betting choice to win the Sun Belt East. So yeah, I can see lots of points. I look for Fresno State to maybe run the ball a little bit more. I thought Donaldson would get more than 11 carries last week. He did not. So I expect a nice little mix. I think they're going to see EJ Warner and his 2 picks and a lost fumble last week. You might see a little more running here, but I'm not sure how I feel about Georgia Southern defensively. So yeah, I like where Pete's head's at on that one.
All right. Uh-oh. No, thought I froze up there for a second, boys. We're good. Game of the week.
Here we go.
Game of the week.
Of course, with FSU, the week is spelled WEAK, but Alabama taking on America's team in Tallahassee. Pete, I believe this is another one of your bets.
It is, and this is another over for me. I mean, last year Florida State's defense was abhorrent, to put it nicely. I don't think they're going to be any better, and I don't think they're going to fare very well, even if they are a little better. Playing against Alabama is going to be a problem for them. So FSU's chance of actually doing anything is to score, because they're going to need to score, because Bama is going to score. I think that's what we're going to see. FSU is definitely missing some key players on both sides, which I think is a problem. Honestly, I think Alabama's going to romp here. I would not expect this game to be close. I expect them to score a lot. I do expect Florida State to score a bit as well, right? So I like the over here at 50.5. I think it's a pretty safe bet either way on this. So yeah, I'm going to be watching this game. I'm excited. I'm actually kind of excited to watch this game to see if Florida State got any better, because last year was kind of painful to watch. So those are my thoughts.
You'd hope they get better. I mean,
they have God, better, right?
I mean, so I've been blissfully ignoring Florida State in the offseason, because we won the offseason last year and look where it got us. So I know I looked at the depth chart. They got a couple of kids that I liked that stayed. Actually, come back. They got the the Jackson kid that they wouldn't let play a couple years ago. He's back. They got a couple new freshmen everyone's really high on. Didn't even take the time to learn the names or numbers at this point. They're going to have to show me something before I even go anywhere near a betting line on this. Castellano was talking smack earlier, I guess, a few weeks ago to Alabama. That always works out well. So we'll see what happens with this game. I got the bottle of Jim Beam ready, so it'll be good.
You should probably not watch. Do something else.
Keep your cell phones on. I'll be texting you guys throughout the game, I'm sure. And that's all I got on this one. Darren, how about you?
Went back and forth on it from a side point of view. I couldn't come up with nothing. I mean, like Florida State cannot possibly be any worse. There's certainly an improvement at the quarterback position with Castellanos.
Yes.
And Alabama's throwing out Ty Simpson. Who the hell knows what you're going to get from him? Like the new OC hire, somebody who's worked with head coach Ken DeBoer in the past. Whether that translates to a lot of points in game one remains to be seen. So, what's weird is I was looking at my picks before I came in the room, and usually I'm kind of anti-betting on teams that have unproven quarterbacks. All three of my picks I'm about to give out, I'm betting on unproven quarterbacks. So much for that theory. I went back and forth. I got nothing here. I hope for your sake, Tim, Florida State looks better. I hope for Pete's sake, Alabama puts up a 50 burger.
Yeah,
I think it's going to happen. So
I have no lean or bet on this game whatsoever.
Yeah, we got a little message from Danny Dimes saying RIP FSU here in the chat. So
he's not wrong.
To try that on, looks like.
He's probably not wrong.
And Mr. Fahrenheit's back. He's did we have any plays with Boise State coming up? He's
nobody bet Boise State.
Here. He's wondering if Ashton Genty was more important than a lot of people thought. So
I saw they ran three quarterbacks on the first drive, and only one of them looked like he knew what he was doing. So
that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, we all expected a downgrade at that position, but this might be more of an epic downgrade than we thought.
Okay, well, hold on. We've got. Let me see. Uh-oh. Second and goal. Looks like Fresno is driving, so we'll have to keep you posted on
that's NC State. Yeah, NC State. Back that up. We don't want any.
Oh, that's right. NC State.
I'm watching this on ESPN, so they
I'm hitting Jim Beam preemptively. So it's
yeah.
Oh, another big game. Pete's team, Michigan.
Oh God.
All right,
yeah.
Darren. Leave this
all right.
one of yours.
Yeah. So I laid the 34.5 here with Michigan. And again, I know I just said I don't like betting on unproven quarterbacks, but my God, he can't be worse than whatever the hell Michigan threw out there at the quarterback position last year.
Wait, we had a quarterback last year?
Well, technically on the roster, you had multiple people that had the QB next to their name on the depth chart, whether they were actual quarterbacks. I mean, we all saw Alex Orji fumbling the ball constantly at UNLV last week, so we all know how that worked out. But I'm just going to say this. This rest of this team is still epic in all position groups. They're still going to run the ball. They still have an awesome offensive line. They lost who they lose? Graham and God, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name. Kenneth Grant on the front line, but they've got those guys replaced in the portal. Linebackers are deep. Secondary, maybe a minor concern, but I love that Rod Moore is back after missing all last year with an injury. And look, team is going to pass the ball more than we think. And the reason I say that is, listen, first of all, I don't think New Mexico is scoring. If they are, maybe a field goal. But, I mean, that tells me that Michigan really only has to get to 38 to cover this line. And I know that a lot of times we say, oh, well, then they're going to look ahead. They're not going to show a lot. They're going to Oklahoma next week. Listen, that's not a conference game. When you were as bad offensively, at least from a passing standpoint, as Michigan was, you are going to go out there and you are going to put up points every chance you get. And if it gets to the point that, you've got a big lead and Bryce Underwood sits, Mikey Keene's got a little something to prove after coming over from Fresno State as well. I don't think they're going to have him turn around and hand the ball off 3 times. And even if they do, they still might score before those 3 plays are up. So I am looking for Michigan. And again, New Mexico, awful defense. Doesn't look like it's going to be any better. They lost Devin Dampier. So I don't know how the hell this team's going to even score any points against this defense, which is probably a top 5 defense right now and probably will be a top 5 defense by the end of the year. So I look for this offense to get right pretty damn quick. This is the perfect opponent for Michigan to remember what it's like to score in the 40s. You know what? I'm going to predict a 50 burger here. I'm going to say Michigan is going to roll 52-3, maybe something like that.
All right.
But I'm going with this kid's a 5-star. He's got to be good at passing the ball. So he's going to get a great chance because if we learned anything from New Mexico's defense, you can pass on them. So just a 1-unit play, Michigan laying the 34.5. And I believe that number is still readily available. Let me do a quick scan because I forgot to bring that up while I was looking. Yeah, 34.5 all across the board, 35 at Bet Rivers, but everything else, 34.5. DraftKings even only has -108. So, yeah, let's do it, baby. Michigan, 50 burger. Mark it down. Pete, I know. Yeah, I mean, you can just tell me if I'm crazy or if I'm wrong.
Oh, man.
I just think this team's going to score. They have to show that they can score. Because if you go to Oklahoma and play in that stadium against that defense, you cannot show them that you cannot put up points and not pass the ball.
I agree.
Okay.
This is a true freshman quarterback in his first game. So, listen, I've watched so many videos and read so much about him, and everything I've read is just like he is truly a specimen, standing out. Everything about him, that's great. He is still a true freshman, starting his first game. We have no idea what it's going to be like for him to get chased by pass rushers in college. Now, that said, to your point, the defense stinks on their side of the ball, right? So I don't expect a whole lot of that. So it's a great game for him to get his feet wet. Man, a 50 spot, I don't know. I mean, that'd be great, but yeah, they're going to win the game. They're going to win by at least, 2-3 touchdowns. I couldn't touch this thing just because it's too much of an unknown. But for me, I don't dislike the bet. I mean, I think that's everything I hear. That's what should happen. I just don't trust it until I see it. So as a fan, that's all I can do. So that's my thoughts.
Got to keep Mrs. Ellison happy. They better win. She got $10
right,
million
NC
for that quarterback.
NC State field goal. That's good. So it's 3-0.
Yeah, they just lined up for the field goal.
Excellent.
So only 3. That's what more field goals, less touchdowns for that game.
Beautiful. That's what I want to see.
All right, Darren. I think this is one of yours as well. We're going to stick with you.
Yeah.
UTEP and
This
Utah
one,
State.
I was actually set on backing a returning quarterback here. However, if you guys are all familiar with another 5-star prospect, Malachi Nelson, who started at USC, then went to Boise State, then went to UTEP. He beat out last year's starter, Skyler Locklear, and last week was given the starting QB job for UTEP. So they're getting 6 here. Listen, we all loved Utah State. They were like the arena ball team of the NCAA. They scored a lot. They averaged 32 points a game, over 460 yards. The defense actually gave up more points than that and more yards than that per game. So Bronco Mendenhall just left his team like late December to take over. Where the hell did he go? New Mexico, team we just talked about.
Yes,
Or no, not New Mexico. Where did he go? No, he went to here from New Mexico. That's right. So all right. So he is the new head coach here. But he really has not. I mean, in his other stops, he's had some pieces to build around. He doesn't really have that here, especially defensively. He still has the old Utah quarterback. What was he? They call him the pig farmer, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean that helps. But again, we talk about defenses being really bad and not having a whole lot of people come back. This defense only has 3 starters. So you think, well, maybe they can improve, but they kept the same defensive coordinator. So are you just going to have another terrible defense just with different guys because you kept the coordinator? I have no idea. But Malachi Nelson, much like when a horse drops in class, they improve. He couldn't cut it at USC. Got limited work at Boise. Maybe being down here, he's going to go off and show us why he's the 5-star prospect. I don't hate what UTEP is bringing back offensively. They got that Charlotte transfer running back, Hashawn Wilson. He had over 6 yards carry last year. Top 2 wide receivers are back as well, so Nelson is going to have some experienced targets to throw to. And the defense actually has a lot of experience coming back, and they've got a new defensive coordinator who had a top 15 defense in the FCS at Montana State last year. So whether that transfers to this level, I guess we're going to find out. But this game opened at 3.5 and got up to 5.5 and 6 in some places. And I thought maybe it would drop when Nelson got the starting gig. It didn't budge. So I'm going to take UTEP with the 6 points here. I do also have a win total bet on them over 5.5 at some plus money. I wasn't initially sure that this was going to be one of their wins, but maybe with the upgrading quarterback and a bad defense on the other side, they can get this done. But I expect them to keep it within the 6. So I got another unit on UTEP plus 6 points.
All right. Well, we had Danny Dimes getting on FSU a little bit. Got Mr. Fahrenheit in here with a little jab here at the Cowboys fan. So,
Listen,
breaking news today. Everyone's favorite general manager.
Yes.
Can I just make a comment as a Cowboy fan? And I know this is completely irrelevant for the show.
Yes.
You guys know I've been anti Jerry Jones for quite some time.
Long time, yeah.
2 things. I mean, you got a couple of first-round draft picks. Okay, that's fine. Better than getting nothing. Do I think the trade still sucks? Yes. But it's not like their defense was any good last year with him. So why overpay Dak and this guy? Now the Green Bay picks are probably going to be late first round, which doesn't really help, but I'll be rooting against Green Bay for the foreseeable future.
That is fair. That is very fair.
But yeah, I would rather they trade and get something than not be able to re-sign him. That amount of money is insane, but good for Parsons.
Good for him, yeah.
But it's not like the defense was getting us to the Super Bowl
when
he was playing last year.
That team needs a rebuild so bad. They really need a rebuild. They need an actual general manager. The ownership. They need an actual general manager, and they need to rebuild because both sides of the ball are just bad. I mean, that's not good.
I mean, offensively, they should be okay, but the problem is they still won't stop anybody.
Yeah, but the quarterback sucks. I mean, at the end of the day, he's always going to choke. So
he's great in the regular season, but thankfully he won't get a chance to choke in the playoffs because they're not going.
Yeah, exactly.
So their first-round pick for the next 2 years should be really good. Hopefully Green Bay will have a crap year either this year or next year, and they'll get another decent pick. But
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a really good pick because you suck, that's one thing. But if you get a good pick because somebody else sucks, that's even better.
I mean, if Green Bay misses the playoffs, then okay, you can say, all right, well, that's a good deal because they'll be picking twice in the top half of the draft. But we'll see. Whatever. I hate Jerry, but
Danny Dimes, he chimed in again. He loves the trade for because I guess he's a Giants fan. So go figure.
Well, then he understands bad front offices and terrible draft. At least the Cowboys have decent draft picks, but they just don't just screw it up all the time. Anyway,
we're going to come into the last one of my picks for this week. You got LSU and Clemson. When I looked at this game, I know Clemson obviously has, I would say, more talent. Even though it's, with a team like LSU, you're kind of splitting hairs there. For me, it came down to the coaches. And this is kind of like the James Franklin Bowl. I don't really like either of these two coaches. Outside the lines, like I've always said, outside the lines, outside the stadium, Dabo Swinney is one of the best.
Yes.
Inside the lines with the way some of the decisions he makes and stuff, I'm just not entirely sure on. Brian Kelly's not much better, but I think he is a little bit better. So with this, I got plus 150, I believe, and I took LSU money line on the road. Get an SEC team. Let's see if all the hype is what it is here, because this is supposed to be a lot of people are picking Clemson as a dark horse for a championship. So I just went ahead. I just took LSU with the money line. I think they'll win the game outright. And I will yield to you guys for questions, comments, insults, etc. What you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the game. I didn't touch it. I think it's gonna be fun as hell to watch. But I really, to your point with the coaches, right? So we've got basically James Franklin the second on one side. And we got another guy who can't seem to be consistent or keep his shit together on the other side. I don't know what to expect. I think it's going to be fun as hell to watch, but I absolutely have no idea what to expect out of this game. I couldn't even flip a coin for me. I don't know who's going to win this game. I literally no idea. So I think it'll be fun, but I have nothing more than that.
Any thoughts, Aaron?
Much like Pete, I took a look at this game in hopes to have a pick here for one of these 3 top 10 matchups. I came up with nothing. Like one day I would look at it and be like, wow, LSU's defense should be really improved.
Right.
Clemson still has to show me that they can stop the run because they, in their losses last year, they got torched on the ground.
Yes.
Then I'm thinking, okay, well, Clemson brought in the DC from, oh God, where the hell did he come from? Now I'm drawing a blank on him too, to fix that. So now it's like, okay, well, is their defense improved? I don't know. I love Nussmeier, but unfortunately, I like Klubnik as well. But Tim, I don't know if you remember our very first show. We did a national championship preview back in 2023, and we are like, yeah, let's each put out a long shot. And I bet on Clemson to win the national championship. They were like plus 2,000. They went out and lost to Duke week 1. So I've been very anti-Clemson ever since show number 1. So between that, the fact that you have LSU money line, and the fact that Pete has Clemson under their win total as a futures bet, I am
double interest here.
Yeah, triple. I am totally purple and yellow this week. I will be rooting as a fan for the credibility of the show and my anti-Clemson stance. And go. Well, I can't say go Tigers. Aren't they both the Tigers? Yeah, go purple and yellow.
Purple and yellow, yes.
Well, Danny Dimes likes my pick. He chimed in again. He thinks that's a great pick. So
that's because I believe he's got Nussmeier winning the Heisman. And,
right.
I think he's got his interests. He knows why he's agreed with you.
All right. Getting down to it. Cal and Oregon State. Peter, this is yours, I believe.
Yeah, it is mine. So over-under is 50.5. As we talked about back in the conference previews, I think Cal is hot garbage. I don't think either one of these offenses is going to be very explosive. I think they're going to both be very methodical in what they do. There are some injury issues on the Oregon State side, which I think will slow them down as well. So I think this is definitely not going to be a shootout. This is going to be a grind. And at that 50.5 number, it fits the grind, right? Being under that makes a lot of sense to me. I could see something like, I don't know, 24 to 20 or something like that would not surprise me. It's not going to be a very exciting game. I'm not going to watch it other than watching the score because I have zero interest in this game from a viewer perspective, but from the betting perspective, I think it screams under all day long. So I'm putting 1 unit on the under 50.5.
Darren, any thoughts?
I agree with the Cal train wreck sentiment. Apparently from what I've read, it's just really bad there. I have not dug into Oregon State enough to form an opinion. I didn't even look at this game honestly, but I just remember ACC preview. Cal bad. Cal bad. That's it. That's all I got.
What we said, I think, was Cal bad. Move on to the next team.
Yeah, crushed totals last year. Whatever he says, and it involves Cal. Cal bad. Yeah, I'm on board.
Right. And we got one more pick. Here we go. Notre Dame and Miami.
Oh boy!
All right.
Catholics versus convicts. Here we go. Darren, what you
I'll
got?
go because this is my pick. So we had a little fun with this game this week. So we've talked Notre Dame multiple times in the off season leading up to the regular season here, and Pete and I have mentioned this game a couple times, and we kind of both agree that Notre Dame really could roll here. And I get the spread sitting at 2.5 because of the quarterback. Well, we know it's CJ Carr. How's he going to perform on the road? His first game, hasn't thrown a pass. All right, that's cool. Every position group around him is excellent.
Yes.
You got possibly one of the best RB duos in the country with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. The receivers, which nobody knew last year, all of a sudden looks really good with Greathouse coming out of nowhere in the playoff games. You got a couple of transfers that came over. Will Pauling from Wisconsin, Malachi Fields from Virginia, Jordan Faison is still there. So this receiving group went from being non-existent to actually really, really deep. And the offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the country. So he's going to have a lot of help around him. Now, that being said, the other side of the ball defensively, Miami did not have a great defense, especially in the secondary. However, they brought in a ton of transfers. They have a new defensive coordinator who came over from Minnesota. I expect that unit to be better. But Notre Dame's defense is, they lost a couple of their stars to the NFL, but this is still an incredibly deep group. You got to remember, they had so many injuries last year. So all these guys that are filling in now have had tons of game experience on both sides of the ball. So I still think Notre Dame is going to have a top 5 defense this year when it's all said and done. You look at Miami offensively, they are not going to be the Miami that they were last year. Okay, all their skill players left. Cam Ward's gone. Damian Martinez is gone. Xavier Restrepo, Isaiah Horton, all those receivers, gone. O-line, excellent. They brought in a ton of talent on the O-line. I think that's going to be their strongest position group overall. But, I mean, Carson Beck is not Cam Ward. Okay, he had, for him, an off year last year. Georgia led the nation in drops. That certainly didn't help his stats. But now he was injured. He missed some time, so he didn't get a full offseason of practice with all these new receivers. We don't know how good these new receivers are or if he's got any Jeff. Yeah, I was getting to that, Jeff. Thank you for that comment. But yeah, I mean, Mark Fletcher's going to be their running back. So I don't know what to expect from this team offensively. I don't even know if I trust Carson Beck more than I trust CJ Carr, to be honest with you, from what I've seen. At least I know CJ Carr is healthy going in. I don't know what to expect from Beck. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to load up the box because they know Notre Dame's going to try and run the ball to start with. So CJ Carr, those first couple of drives, he's going to have to hit some passes. And if he does, this is going to get ugly because Miami is not going to know what's coming. So I went and yeah, Jeff brought up the coaching. Yeah, I would trust Marcus Freeman more than most coaches. Then I would trust most coaches over Mario Cristobal. So we know there's always a game where the Hurricanes Cristobal themselves. Usually it's much later on in a much more key moment in the season. But I just think Notre Dame is a much deeper team than they were last year, and this team got to the national championship last year. And I know there's some Miami people out there that are like, oh, well, Notre Dame, they play in Indiana. Now they got to go to Florida in, early September, and it's going to be hot. Well, you know what else was hot? Texas A&M when Notre Dame went down there in week 1. And who collapsed in the fourth quarter? Yeah, it was the Texas A&M defense. It wasn't Notre Dame. So don't give me this weather it's humid bullshit because that obviously does not affect Notre Dame either. So I had a little fun here. I didn't want to lay the 2.5 at -110. So I played a little alternate line here. I'm laying 6.5 at a nice +171 on DraftKings.
Love it.
I think that this could be a 2-touchdown win for the Irish here. I think top to bottom, they're the better team. If CJ Carr can just hit like 60% of his passes, this could get ugly for Miami. So give me the Irish 6.5, alternate line, nice plus price. Fighting Marcus Freeman's are going to roll Sunday night.
Darren getting all scientific.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm just trying to. Anybody that wants to come in the comments say, "Well, Miami has hot weather." Yeah, I don't care.
So what?
Alternative lines. Darren DeGrasse Tyson over here. It's like
once the week 0 curse ended, I mean, I'm just out of control.
He's out.
Just stop.
He's out of control. Pete, any thoughts on this game?
I could not agree more. I think Notre Dame and Michigan are in very similar situations right now with a new quarterback starting out, right? So it's that's the question marks around the quarterbacks in both teams. Outside of that, the teams around those quarterbacks are excellent. I think Notre Dame is a light years better team than Miami on both sides of the ball. So to be clear to our listeners and viewers, the only thing I'm betting on and looking at this year, like last year, are over-unders. I'm not betting anything else. But I would lay those points all day long. I agree with Darren 100%. I think Notre Dame is going to pound them. I think it could get ugly later in that game. I don't think Miami has the offense to respond to what Notre Dame will do, especially against that Notre Dame defense. I think Carson Beck is going to be running for his life. I don't know if he's going to make it through the game because he's already potentially injured. So that could be a problem. I think this is going to be a really ugly game for Miami. So I could not agree more. I think that's a great bet. I love that alternative line. I would lay I would lay those points too. That's an awesome bet.
This is one of the 2 or 3 teams that would have me rooting for Notre Dame. So yeah, go Notre Dame, go Irish, pound them. I hope that comes true. Cannot go there. So let's head on to our RPO segment.
Oh boy.
first game, we got Texas and who are they playing, Pete? I forget who they're playing.
Oh, some team. I don't know. They're I don't know. They're savages. They live in Ohio, I think. I don't know.
Yes. Plus 1.5. What do you guys think about this one?
I mean,
depends what day you ask us.
that is fair. I mean, honestly, there is nothing that I would love more to watch Arch take that team into the shoe and pummel those disgusting things that live in Ohio, right? I would love to see that. I don't have confidence that will happen, though.
So much for when they go low, you go high, I guess.
I don't know, but I just don't. I think it's going to be a very good game. I actually think it's going to turn into a defensive game. That's my perspective. So I think the under was a little interesting to me, but I can't touch this thing. I can't wait to watch it. I want to see. I mean, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I talked about it. No, I did not last week, but a couple weeks ago. What concerned me about Texas was Sark's inability to restructure what he was doing. When they were not doing well against Georgia twice, he could not find a way around. That concerned me, right? But now he's had a whole flipping offseason to plan for this thing, right? So if he can't make that offense with that man work against this team, then that's concerning to me. So I think it's going to be a great game. It could go either way, honestly, but I would love to see Texas just rail them.
I think Sarkisian for me is like James Franklin light. Like he's not quite that bad, but I still haven't seen too many what I would consider great coaching jobs. Like you look at the game, and be like, oh, Sarkisian really coached his ass off there. So I don't know, Darren, any thoughts on this one?
Well, to echo to Pete's concerns about Sark, I mean, I brought up before, the national semifinal. You're down 7. You had first and goal at the 1. You don't run a single play with Arch Manning. I mean,
what's wrong with you?
Come on. That's a no-brainer right there. I mean, I'm a fucking moron, and I would have put Arch Manning in at least 2 of those plays because he probably would have scored by then from a yard out. But anyway, and the slightest lean, I mean, like the slightest lean, I would lean Texas here. I can't trust Brian Hartline to call plays. He was an offense coordinator 2 years ago, but he was not calling plays in 2023. This is his first chance to call some plays. And don't get us started on Matt Patricia taking over the defense for Ohio State, a defense that has to replace 8 starters. God, he's terrible.
The man that Belichick made that's done nothing since he hasn't worked with Belichick.
In like 9 years, he hasn't had a decent defense.
Come on, I live in Michigan to watch him with the Lions and how pathetic that team. I mean, it was awful. I mean, this man should not be coaching. So I agree. I want to see Arch light that defense up.
Like I said, the slightest lean to Texas. But then again, if you told me, well, Ohio State's got the best offensive and defensive player in all of football, I would agree with you 100%.
Not arguing that.
Exactly. And these are the thoughts that made me change my mind, I think, for 7 days in a row. But since it's today and you're asking me, slight lean to Texas, but I would not bet this with either of your guys.
Absolutely.
Almost with your alternate line, I was also has me thinking maybe explore an alternate line with Texas minus 1.5 and see what kind of.
You don't ever want to go through 0, Tim.
Yeah, that's tough. On the other side of that 0 is a really tough dig. I don't know. Hey, by the way, sidebar. 3-0 still at the end of the first quarter.
Nice.
I was just going to say,
lock it in.
Count it.
Mississippi State, Southern Miss. Darren, let's start with you. What you got?
I'm not really sure how a team that finished dead last in the SEC is a 2-touchdown favorite over Marshall version 2.0 here. That just seems kind of high. God. Yeah, you know what? I would take Southern Miss here. Even though I was looking at my sheet earlier, my sheet would tell me to bet on Mississippi State, but then I can't trust them. No. I don't know if I would run to the window. I might casually stroll with a beverage in one hand and a little bit of money in the other hand. But if you get 13.5 still, I would take a shot on Southern Miss. I like Marshall version 2.0.
Peter.
Yeah, I toyed with the over, but it's a big number, right? 60.5. I mean, I think it's going to be scoring. So it's just that number to me is just a little. It was not the number I wanted to see. I do think it's going to be a lot of scoring, but to me, it's a little high. And to Terrence's point, I don't necessarily trust what Mississippi State's going to do. I think they'll probably win the game, but I'm not quite sure what we're going to see out of them. So I stayed away.
Yeah, as much as I love Crumb and Oak and Fluff over there in Mississippi now, yeah, this is one I want to stay away from. So we'll just move on to Northwestern at Tulane. Peter, any thoughts? I mean, +6 for Northwestern. That seems low, I think. I think Northwestern's horrible.
Yeah, Northwestern's horrible. I mean, typical Northwestern, they're going to run the ball. They're going to do what they're going to do. Over-under is 45.5. I toyed with it. I actually was leaning under a bit, but that number's a little low. And so I didn't – I mean, if it was like 47.5, 48, I would definitely have played the under. At that 45.5, it's getting a little close to the barrier for me. So, I think it's not going to be an interesting game. Honestly, I don't want to watch it. Don't love that number, but I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So those are my thoughts.
Darren.
To piggyback on that thought, I agree with the low-scoring game, but Northwestern +6 actually looks somewhat appealing here. When we had talked about that, remember they got Preston Stone as their QB now, so if he's 100% healthy, I expect him to look somewhat like the 2023 version of Preston Stone, and I think defensively they will get better because now they actually have some semblance of an offense. I know Pete and I were very anti-Tulane when we did our American preview. They just lost too much. I don't know why they're one of the favorites to win the conference. I don't think they're even going to be in the game. But again, public looks at their home favorites. If you hold out till Saturday, or is this a Friday game or is this a Saturday game? I don't even remember.
It is a Saturday game, I think.
Is it a Saturday?
Yeah.
I would hold out, see if you can get 6.5 or maybe even 7, but Northwestern intrigues me here.
And here's the game we talked about a couple times during our conference previews: Toledo and Kentucky. Toledo getting 9.5 at Kentucky. This was one we were all – I think all three of us were leaning Toledo. I'm thinking about running to the window with this one, taking the 9.5 with Toledo. I don't know about you guys. Yeah.
I'd walk slowly to the window because when we first looked at this game, it was 10. It went all the way down to 7.5, and now it's slowly working its way back up.
Yeah.
If you take your time getting to the window on game day, you could get 10. I would feel more comfortable if that line got back to 10. If it does get to 10, yeah, then begin sprinting and take that 10 with Toledo. Actually, while Pete's talking, I'm going to see if that's 10 anywhere.
Peter, what you got?
Yeah, interesting, right? So, so I'm only doing over-unders, right? 47.5. I was leaning under. That aside, right? I agree. What Tim said, this is going to be interesting. I actually think, I'm not betting it, but I actually think Toledo has an opportunity to win this game outright. Now, will they go in there and do it? I don't know. But I do think they're the right type of team, the way they play, that could go in there and win this game outright. So the money line is intriguing. I'm going to keep an eye on it as we get closer, just because I like this Toledo team, and I think it could be pretty interesting. So I've done nothing so far, but I think with 10, I would take that all day. Even, what are we, 9.5? Definitely. I mean, I think I would take the points. Once again, not betting it, but I would take the points. But honestly, the money line intrigues me here. So anyway,
hey, Pete, while he's giving his thoughts, check FanDuel, because this site is telling me that FanDuel's got a 10.5.
Really? All right, hold on.
And a lot of other books have 10. I know sometimes mine and yours FanDuel have different, but I'm seeing a lot of 10s now.
Yeah, let me take a look.
So maybe there are some 10s out there. But if you can get 10, I'm very down on Kentucky. Their new starter, Zach Calzada. Don't really like him a lot either.
Yeah. This is ripe for an upset, man. I'm telling you, this is ripe for an upset. Hold on, I'm looking right now. Give me a second. I gotta get
because if Toledo gets this, we looked at their schedule. There's an undefeated possibility if they can somehow pull this off.
I know, and I think
that schedule's pretty easy.
So I mean that's intriguing to me. I want to watch that game. So I'm very intrigued by that. Hold on, let me see.
While you're checking that, we'll move on. We got Marshall at Georgia. Darren, Georgia given 39.5. I got here.
I tried to find some games for this segment, and the problem in week one is there's a lot of good teams playing not so good teams, and there's a lot of spreads that are insane. Like you see this little 4-game run that we're about to talk about. I read somewhere Kirby Smart really doesn't run it up early on. First couple weeks of the season, they kind of just like figure some things out, and I think with Stockton, that trend could actually hold here. Of course, the flip side of that is they could put up 50 by accident, not even trying, but 39.5 seems high. I would hold my nose and hope that somehow Marshall can get in the end zone. And maybe this ends up like 41-7 and they cover, but I would not run to bet Marshall, but Kirby usually doesn't rub it in like our next coach that we're going to talk about likes to do. So, I mean, if you really want to hold your nose and vomit a handful of times over the course of 3.5 hours, take a shot at Marshall. What the hell?
By the way, to your question, Toledo's getting 10.5 right now on FanDuel. That is such a juicy, beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Man, whew, that's a lot of points. I love that,
bro. If you add that, drop it in the comments after the video. So
I'll probably add that. I mean, I don't. But I said I promised I'm only going to bet over under. So
that's
whatever.
Okay,
but that is a juicy number. That's crazy.
And what's the next game we got? Oh, our favorite coach, Penn State and Nevada. We'll let you guys start. What you guys got? We go with Pete.
I mean, Penn State better win this game, and they better win this game pretty handily, right? At the end of the day, I mean, what is it? Is that 44.5?
That is 44.5. Yes, sir.
Jesus. I mean, the over-under is 57.5. So they basically say Nevada's going to do absolutely nothing, but their offense is abhorrent, so that's not surprising. Penn State's defense is suffocating, so that's not surprising. So this is kind of similar, like you were talking about Michigan, right? So, maybe Nevada can squeak out 3 points. Penn State's probably going to score 50 or something and just pound the living hell out of them. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question what the outcome is going to be on this thing. It's just a matter of, what does James do? Does he pull back the throttle? And so that's what, like, numbers like this, 57.5 over under. The reason I won't touch it is because you never know when somebody, especially early in the season, they get up by 30 points or something. He's going to pull back the throttle. He's not going to endanger his players. So to me, that's an under, because if they get up, because Nevada's not going to score shit, right? And they're not going to do anything. So it's all in Penn State's hands. And so, I mean, the under is intriguing simply because I think James will pull back. So that's my thought on that game.
Anything else, Pete or Darren, or we'll move on?
No, I wouldn't touch this game. Please carry on.
Missouri State at USC. They're getting 35.5, slightly less than Nevada's getting at Penn State. Darren, any thoughts with this one?
Yeah, USC's gonna roll here.
Yes.
Yeah, this is gonna be. I'm not betting it because, like Pete had mentioned with Penn State, USC gets up a ton. Jaden Maivia sits. A lot of other skill positions sit. Who knows what Missouri State can do? And they're one of the unknowns coming in from the FCS. Who knows if they're going to surprise and get maybe 14 points here? But USC is probably going to put up 50 here. So I would take USC. I mean, maybe I would see maybe you can get 35 even. But yeah, I could see a 6-touchdown win here for USC pretty easy.
Yeah.
All right, we got Georgia State and Ole Miss. Peter, we'll start with you on this one. Georgia State getting 35.5.
Yeah, I mean, I barely looked at it. I mean, this wasn't even hitting my radar so much. I fully expect that Ole Miss will beat them pretty handily. And see, the whole thing with these non-conference early season games with these big lines, man, they're tough. They're tough to bet, right? Because it's hard. Once again, you don't know how long people are going to stay in, what's going to go on. It's just tough, right? And it makes these over. I mean, especially when these numbers are bigger with the over-unders, I tend to love the unders because at least for the most part, any coach who's thinking about the whole season, which they largely are going to kind of start to ramp it back and rest some players and just do the right thing. And so but then again, if a team is so much better than the other team, the second team guy is going to beat the crap out of their team too. So it's hard to it's hard to vet that. So I just, with these big lines, I just try to stay away, and I did not like the over-under number, so I've got nothing on this one.
I'm kind of betting with the coach. I'm really leaning Ole Miss. I just think Lane Kiffin, if he could drop 50 on somebody, he's going to do it. Put up a lot of points last year. Obviously he had the quarterback, but I maybe casually stroll, and if you don't trip on anything, get up to the window, and I'd lay the 35.5 at Ole Miss. I think they cover pretty easily.
Good God, NC State scored 2 touchdowns already in the second quarter, so they're trying real hard to screw me here. They're trying real hard. We're not going to have that. So all right, continue.
All right, let's keep going before Pete has a heart attack here. We got Hawaii at Arizona getting 17.5. Darren.
I tried to keep an eye on the Hawaii Stanford game on the YouTube TV multi-view, and my God, how far back did these two teams set football? I mean, Hawaii's quarterback actually looked legit. I had some concerns, especially that first drive where it's a ball in the end zone, gets sacked, fumbles, Stanford gets a touchdown. But to his credit, he gutted it out, led the team to win. But he could barely walk in the second half, so I have to assume that if he even plays, he's not 100%. Yeah, and I'm glad for Pete because I know he's got over 5.5. So that Stanford win was huge because I think this is a L because I think if he's not healthy, why would you put him out there?
Yep.
Just let Arizona roll. Let your quarterback get healthy and get ready for next week, whoever you got. But yeah, I think this one looks bad for Hawaii. I would take Arizona here.
Yeah.
All right, we got Utah minus 5.5 at UCLA. A pretty interesting line. Peter, what do you got on this one?
Hold on, I want to talk about Hawaii for 1 second.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, no, you're good.
Wow, they're not things you
Arizona's going to roll. There's no question about that. But I did say last week, Hawaii at home is dangerous. Now Stanford is hot garbage. It didn't matter. Right? At the end of the day, right? I don't care who Hawaii plays at home. It's dangerous, right? So you don't want to go there. And so I was not surprised at all with what they did last week. And kudos to the quarterback for dragging his ass through that thing because he really, really did drag that team to a victory. And that was pretty cool to see. So that's enough of that one. Hawaii on the road, totally different story. They're going to get punked, right? So it doesn't matter.
And just to disagree with Pete's point, you don't want to go there. You do want to go there, but just not to play football. That's
right.
Yeah.
Right. A great vacation there.
I would love to go there, but not to play football.
If your team goes there and that's the week you tweak a hammy or something and you can't play, so you sit around on the beach or something, that sounds just terrible, right? So
I would go for that.
The time to go, right?
Right. All right. Utah, UCLA, Darren.
I thought you were going to start with Pete, but I'm excited. I hope this game's on TV because you got Devin Dampier against Nico. I'm leaving Tennessee. This should be fun, man. I wouldn't touch this game because I don't know who Nico's going to throw to, and I don't know how Devin Dampier is going to do, stepping up against a Big Ten defense that was actually not too bad last year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would love to watch this one, like stand alone, have nothing else on, because I would love to see how these two QBs play here with their new schools. I'm really looking for this. This is a game I'm not betting on, but it's probably the one game I'm not betting on. I'm looking the most forward to actually watching. So I am excited to watch this game and see how these two guys look.
Peter?
Yeah, over under 51.5. I didn't bet it, but I was leaning under. I do like the under. To Darren's point, who's he going to throw the ball to? I don't know. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than we would originally think. If you're just looking at these two teams, I think it's going to be a fun game. I agree with Darren. It's going to be fun to watch, but I do think it's going to be a lower scoring. So that 51.5, I'm leaning on the under. I didn't play it. But I would consider it at some point here. But regardless, I think it will be a really interesting game to watch. So those are my thoughts.
All right. And we got Virginia Tech getting 7.5 at South Carolina. For me, it's a heavy lean with South Carolina here. Darren, what are you thinking here?
Well, let's all congratulate Rashul Faison, who, after 47 years of waiting to hear from the NCAA, has been granted eligibility to play for South Carolina. So their running game takes a huge step in the right direction. I think Virginia Tech's head coach is getting fired before the year is over. I can't trust Kyron Drones to stay healthy. Their best running backs on the Jaguars now. Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. I know South Carolina lost a crap ton on the defense. It might not matter against the Hokies here. So exit Sandman. Give me South Carolina.
And finally, TCU going up to Chapel Bill. Peter, they're getting 3.5, or they're giving 3.5 rather. Sorry, giving 3.5 at North Carolina.
Given 3.5. I'm trying to find the over under on this. Hold on, I gotta find it in my big list of games here. Where am I? Hold on. I can't find the damn number right now. Whatever. I mean, I looked at it briefly. I mean, I can't find it. It was not on my higher confidence list. So I have a higher. Just a little back scene, right? What I do for all these over unders is I rank them all confidence up to level 5, so 1 to 5. So if it's not at least a 3 or a 4, I barely even look at it. So this is one of those that was like a 2. So I didn't really look at it. So I have not much to add here.
I do. My first future bet back in December was North Carolina over their win total of 7.5. This is one of the games I figured that they would lose. I like TCU a lot better here. I know, Tim, your boy Gio Lopez was named the starter the other day. Obviously, that helps immeasurably. Don't get me wrong, but I'd still take, exactly. Still take Josh Hoover over him until proven otherwise. I wouldn't touch this line. If I had thought that, if I looked at it back when North Carolina was a 2.5 point favorite a couple months ago, I would have been all over TCU. But shame on me for not even getting close to the best number. If you had to pick, I mean, I know this is Labor Day. It's a standalone game on Monday night. It's the week 1 Hawaii game where everybody who's losing is going to try and bail here and chase losses on this game. Please don't be, have a losing record going into this game. So I would not. I had to make a.
I'm in North Carolina. I think it'd be one of those things where I just do a football. I can see they win and the hype train. Then it's all.
I mean, the thing is, nobody has any idea what North Carolina is going to look like. Nobody has a clue. And if they tell you they do, then they're full of it. Because I looked at this team a lot before I made this futures bet, and I still had no idea what the hell they're going to look like. But until it gets to 4, if I had to make a pick, I would lean TCU here. I think they're going to win this one.
All right, let's start to wrap this up. We're going to go over my bets first. So I've got Texas A&M minus 21.5 over UTSA. And I got LSU money line over Clemson. Pete, what you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at the game right now that's going on, which is NC State and East Carolina. It's 17-0 right now. I've got the under 59.5. It'd be great if East Carolina could actually punt the ball a little farther after they keep 3 and outing. So I don't know where this is going, but I think we're still in pretty good shape there. Wisconsin, Miami of Ohio over 39.5. As I mentioned before, that number is really low. Auburn, Baylor, going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to watching that game. Under 57.5. Alabama, FSU over 50.5, largely because Alabama's going to score and FSU's defense is hot garbage. Cal and Oregon State under 50.5. I mean, Cal is just bad everywhere, just bad. And Oregon State's got some injuries, so I don't think they're going to light it up like I would maybe expect them to otherwise. So I like that under there. And then Georgia Southern, Fresno State over 51.5.
Darren.
Late ad for me on Tuesday night. I got +7 with Cincinnati over Nebraska in the neutral site game that kicks off in about an hour or so. Last week I gave out Baylor on the money line over Auburn, a little bit of plus money there. San Jose State, I laid 11.5. That's up to 13.5. I wouldn't go any farther than that. If it gets to 14, just stay away. But I'd feel comfortable laying up to 13.5 there against a very questionable Central Michigan offense. And then for my plays for the weekend, give me the Fighting Malachi Nelsons and UTEP with the 6 points over Utah State. Michigan, coming out party for the passing game, baby. They are going to cover 34.5 against New Mexico. And the Fighting Marcus Freeman's a little fun bet to wrap up Labor Day weekend. Little alternate line. DraftKings, if you choose 6.5, you can get a nice +171 there. So that is my bets for the weekend. And guys, if you're using FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever, there are a lot of profit boosts coming out for these big games. Usually they limit you to 10 or $20, but you can get some 50% profit boosts on like Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. So check your apps, take advantage of that. Even though the bets are a little bit limited, you can get some nice payouts if your bet hits.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our show for this week. We're looking forward to week 1. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It's free. It helps us out, and we really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next week.